Now I like to play with you.
Greetings, fellow monstrous beings. As you know, I am your host, Mr. Cthulhu. Today I will be taking a bite out of the 1986 horror comedy film, Critters. The film was written and directed by Stephen Herrick. This was Stephen's debut feature film and was followed up in 1989 by the cult classic Bill and Ted's
Excellent!
Adventure. He followed up in 1992 with The Mighty Ducks, which spawned a couple of okay sequels. Critters was released by New Line Cinema and was meant to be their answer to the movie Gremlins, which came out 2 years earlier in 1984. There are some similarities, but it's really unfair to make comparisons. They're totally different movies. Anyway, let's cut the crap and get stuck into the main course. And don't forget, bring your appetite with you. Our movie begins on a pretty self-explained environment, a prison asteroid, where there seems to be some kind of escape happening. The ship appears to be piloted by some nasty little creature with sharp claws. Two pretty badass alien bounty hunters are sent on a mission to go collect the little beasties.
I have a job for you.
We're then introduced to our main character, Bradley Brown, and the rest of his family. Brad's trying to skive the day off school, I guess.
106.
Brad, did you tell me?
I think Brad needs some lessons from this guy.
You lick your palms. It's a little childish and stupid, but then so is high school.
Meanwhile, at the town's local police station, we get to meet a very early Lynn Shay.
Morning, Harv.
Morning, Sal. What's happening?
Harv, the town sheriff, is played perfectly by M. Emmett Walsh. I love this guy. He's got like 216 credits to his name and is a fantastic character actor. An alcoholic called Charlie just got out the drunk tank and is explaining to the sheriff that he hears voices.
This is Patrol GXP 1198 calling Alpha Tango Delta. Come in. Over.
Do you hear that? Charlie, it's Jeff.
I'm on Route 22. Come on, lover, pick it up.
Yep, Charlie is our hero for the next 3 movies, folks. Our 2 bounty hunters from earlier, Ugg and Lee, are in pursuit of the creatures. On their journey, using a futuristic Oculus Rift, they learn about Earth by watching our TV. Get used to this track. You hear it a lot. I'm a believer of practical effects, and this one's great. We learn that the bounty hunters are shapeshifters, and one has taken the form of rock star Johnny Steele, played by Terrence Mann. Looks like Dr. Frankenfurter. Back on the Brown family farm, it's established that Charlie is some kind of handyman for the family. Brad Brown is played by Scott Grimes, or as you might recognize him as...
Dad is gone, and we're not going home ever again.
Later that evening, the family are having a home-cooked meal. Brad's sister April has her boyfriend there, a young and then unknown Billy fucking Zane.
This is a great meal, Mrs. Brown.
As established earlier, Brad is a bit of a pyromaniac. I'm sure that'll be a useful skill later on.
Be careful.
They drove to the barn. Billy Zane's acting in this movie is not good.
I'm allergic.
I'll drink to that. On his way home, Charlie sees the ship from earlier. What a waste of liquor. Few scenes earlier, Brad got grounded for hitting his sister with a slingshot. He almost gets caught sneaking out of the house. That was weird. Brad's father, Jay, catches him trying to leave the house. In a close-by field, the critters have finally landed on Earth. And they got the munchies real fucking bad.
At the hungry heifer, we won't give you one steer.
Now?
With the critter ship landed, it was only a matter of time before they found their first appetizer. In the form of one of the sheriff's deputies, Jeff Barnes. Back at the Brown family farm, shit's about to get real. Not completely satisfied with the bacon sandwich they just consumed, the critters are looking for their next meal.
Oh, you're so cool, Brewster. You scared the hell out of me.
Want to see something really scary?
The bounty hunters have finally caught up with the critters and have landed on Earth, but one of them is having trouble picking a form.
Transform.
Nothing likes me.
Back at the Brown family farm, they realize the power and the phone lines have been cut, and in true horror fashion, they go down to a dark, gloomy basement to investigate. Wait a minute, that's a critter? It's so goddamn cute. I want one. Jay, the father, gets pretty viciously attacked, and we see that the critters are able to fire some kind of poisonous darts. He manages to fend them off with a hammer, and his family drag him the fuck out of there. But not before he takes a dart to the shoulder. The bounty hunters are finally closing in. They find the dead cop from earlier, and the other one decides to take his form. The same two bounty hunters appear in Critters 2, and he decides to choose a more interesting form.
No! No, no, no! No! Please.
But we'll save that one for another day. While Dee Wallace and Scott Grimes try and patch up Billy Greenbush, their daughter April is having a fumble in the hay with Mr. Billy Zay. Please note the Herrick Chainsaw Massacre tape. That's pretty cool. And also, his fingers are already goddamn missing. Come on. Billy Zane has had all of about 2.5 minutes screen time in this movie before he gets eaten. It's pretty fucking awesome. Brad the little pyromaniac comes to rescue his sister, and this has to be one of the best movie monster deaths of all time. Meanwhile, at the town's local church... Oh, those bounty hunters kill me.
We're here for the Christ.
We find out that the bounty hunters call the critters Krites. I guess that's their scientific name? Anyway, the second bounty hunter decides it's time for a facelift, and he chooses that of the local preacher. It's definitely a better look than what he's running with at the moment. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume these guys are straight up atheists. They fuck that place up. The family decide it's time to get the hell out of Dodge, and they go to their car. What the hell? I am so sick of these goddamn gremlins ruining my movie review. They've done this kind of thing before. Check this out.
Sheriff, look. This time I'm telling you the truth.
Just like that last prank about all those little creatures that multiply when you throw water on them.
Stop going in the fireplace!
Mischievous little buggers. With their car totally trashed, the Brown family try their best to fend off the critters. Brad manages to escape by climbing the tree from earlier. While all hope seems lost, Brad manages to get into the house to let the family in.
Fucking motherfucker. Fuck you!
Elsewhere at the local bowling alley,
Who you gonna call? Ghostbusters! If it's something weird and it don't look good, who you gonna call? Ghostbusters!
one of the bounty hunters decides it's time for a quick bowl, and he goes in for the strike.
Holy shit.
In the quest for information, they go to speak to the one and only person you need to in a time like this, the bartender.
Hey, Jake, are we gonna get a couple beers over here or what?
You keep your shirt on, asshole. That's some outfit you got on.
We want the Kreitz.
Once again, the many-faced god decides it's time for the old switch-a-face-a-roo.
I have a serious attitude problem. Keep your shirt on, asshole.
Back at the Brown farm, the Kreitz, are on a full-scale assault on Precinct 13 attack.
Tell me I have led a good life. Tell me I'm a good man.
With most of his family incapacitated, it's up to Steve Smith to save the day.
I shall call him Squishy, and he shall be mine.
Brad's sister April is still in the game, and they decide to go for help. Bradley eventually manages to get out of the house, but he sees that the critters are growing at an exponential rate the more they eat.
Oh my gosh. They're growing.
Cue the 80s montage. Brad eventually manages to get to the main road, where he stops the two bounty hunters, believing they're cops. Obviously, to his surprise, he sees that one of the bounty hunters, is his friend Charlie, and one is a rock star from TV.
Charlie?
They head straight to the Brown farm to save the day. They start going room by room, trying to clear the house.
Gee, he's supposed to use a good exterminator.
Sheriff Harv finally arrives on the scene, and suffice to say, he's surprised to see the town drunk Charlie in futuristic clothes holding a hand cannon. He obviously doesn't realize it's not Charlie.
I hope not your take over our operation.
Charlie, put me down.
Bradley, of course, puts himself in further danger by trying to rescue the family cat. A huge 6-foot critter is in the house. But luckily, Mr. Bounty Hunter with his big dick gun comes to save the day. Unfortunately, though, while they're in the house, the huge critter that jumped out of the window has made off with April.
Where's April?
It just grabbed her. I couldn't do it. It was huge.
Come on, Harv.
They take it that way.
I just love the fact it's the kid, the child, that goes to rescue his sister, not the father. There is actually some pretty good humor in this movie. On his way to rescue his sister, Bradley bumps into Charlie. They go to investigate, and they see that she's been dragged into the spaceship from the beginning of the film. Brad gets on board the ship and takes the poisonous dart out of his sister's neck, and she instantly wakes up. He still has the homemade bomb that he made earlier, but he's interrupted by old Mother Crite. In the dash to escape, he accidentally drops the bomb in the ship, leaving it behind. But good old Charlie, being the drunk that he is, has a great idea. I friggin' love this part. Just because they're so mean-spirited, and just because they can. The critters blow the absolute living shit out of the Browns' farmhouse.
The boat, it's the buzz. It's the sheer fuck-offness of it all, am I right?
With the Krites eradicated, it's time for the bounty hunters to leave, and Charlie goes with them for their next adventure. Before they left, the main bounty hunter gave Brad some kind of electronic doohickey, which starts bleeping. What happens next is probably the most dumbest thing in the whole movie, and makes absolutely no sense at all. With their destroyed house somehow reversed from a burnt crisp, the bounty hunters leave Earth, and all is right in the world again. Or is it? Well, that was the movie Critters. I think it's a pretty good movie that stands up even by today's standards. Yeah, it's dated and some of the special effects are a bit iffy, but it's pretty goddamn good. There's some good humor in there, and it doesn't take itself too seriously at all. The critters themselves are pretty good little creatures. I want one. Although they're only actually responsible for 2 deaths in the movie. With a $2 million budget, the movie did pretty okay. It raked in about $13 million in the US. And for a movie like this in 1986, that was not bad at all. It was enough to warrant 3 sequels being greenlit. Critters 2 was released in 1988 and was directed by Mick Garris. It's the best sequel by far. It feels more true to the original. Critters 3 and 4 were released back-to-back and also made back-to-back in 1991 and 1992. Critters 3 happened to be the debut for a fine young actor who would grow up to be a charming man.
My price for this nigga here is too steep. What I'm gonna desire to do is...
Yep, I bet he wishes he could go back in time and erase the shit out of that movie. Over the years, there's been some buzz online about a 4th Critters movie, but I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon, if at all. But there has been a pretty awesome little short movie done by a fan. You should check it out. It's fucking awesome.
Kill more Christ.
Hour of the night, streets are calling.
And that brings us to the end of the review. I hope you enjoyed it, and you'll stay tuned for the next one. I have been your host, Mr. Cthulhu, and I'll see you on another episode of At the Movies of Madness.